Millions of travelers swear one drink at 35,000 feet hits like 3 on the ground. They say you get drunk 5 times faster on a plane. FAA research says your blood alcohol does not actually change at altitude, but the sensation is absolutely real. A 2024 German Aerospace Center study reveals why. And it starts with what the cabin is quietly doing to your body before you even take that first sip. The story starts with a claim you've heard 100 times. You get drunk 5 times faster on a plane. It is catchy, but it does not hold up under a microscope. The Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, has been running studies on this since the 1960s. Their results are clear. When you drink at cruising altitude, say 35,000 feet or about 10,600 meters, your blood alcohol concentration, known as BAC, rises at exactly the same rate as it does on the ground. Breathalyzer readings taken at 8,000 feet cabin pressure match those at sea level, drink for drink. The FAA's 1988 pilot performance study is the one that gets quoted in safety briefings. 24 commercial pilots, all given a standard dose of alcohol, flew in a simulator set to 8,000 feet. The result? A 12% increase in reaction time, but no spike in BAC. The numbers just do not add up to the viral meme. No 5-fold jump, no hidden multiplier. The same holds true for the so-called McFarland study from the 1930s. Despite decades of internet digging, no one has found a published paper, just a chain of blogs referencing each other. So why does a single drink seem to hit so much harder at altitude? The data say the myth is wrong, but the experience is real. That contradiction is where the real science begins. The answer is not in your BAC. It is in what the cabin does to your body, oxygen levels, dehydration, and a few tricks your liver and stomach play on you at 35,000 feet. The FAA's numbers force us to ask a better question. Not if you get more drunk, but why it feels that way. Step inside any modern jet and you are breathing air pressurized to the equivalent of 6,000 to 8,000 feet, about 1,800 to 2,400 meters above sea level. That is not Everest, but it is high enough to shift the chemistry of your blood. At sea level, your oxygen saturation, also called SpO2, sits comfortably around 98%. Once you are at cruising cabin altitude, it drops to about 90 to 93%. The Mayo Clinic calls this subclinical hypoxia. You might not notice it, but your brain does. Picture a business traveler balancing a laptop, a gin and tonic, and a video call. He is breathing a little faster, maybe rubbing his temples. Mild hypoxia at these levels brings on symptoms that look suspiciously like the first glass of wine. Slower thinking, mild euphoria, a bit of lightheadedness, and a subtle dip in judgment. A 2026 study in Frontiers in Psychology found that pilots at 8,000 feet cabin altitude showed a 15% increase in reaction time and a 12% drop in tracking accuracy. The FAA and the German Aerospace Center both peg 90% SpO2 as the threshold where things start to blur. The body's response is automatic. Heart rate ticks up and the brain's chemistry shifts. The feeling is not just in your head, it is in your blood. That is why a single drink at altitude feels like 2 or 3 on the ground, even when your blood alcohol concentration, BAC, stays flat. The next factor is even drier. Cabin humidity can drop as low as 10%, and that is where dehydration starts to stack the odds against you. Cabin air is dry, desert dry. Humidity on a typical flight sits between 10 and 20%. For comparison, most homes hold steady at 40 to 60%. Even the Sahara averages about 25%. Now add alcohol, which acts as a diuretic, and you are not just sipping a drink, you are losing water at double speed. ASHRAE and Boeing cabin air quality reports peg in-flight water loss at around 8% higher each hour than on the ground. That is why you see parents juggling bottles, juice boxes, and a steady stream of requests for water. A parent on a long haul with 2 kids learns fast. Everyone gets thirsty, cranky, and a little foggy. Every hour in the air, your body is quietly drying out. The more dehydrated you get, the more concentrated the alcohol in your bloodstream becomes. It is not that your blood alcohol concentration jumps, but the effect on your brain and mood intensifies. That is why a single glass of wine can leave you lightheaded and sluggish by the time you reach cruising altitude. If you are finding this kind of Flight Insider science useful, subscribe and hit the bell for more. And tell us in the comments, where are you flying next? Hydration is your best ally at 35,000 feet. The next time you order a drink, pair it with a bottle of water. Your head and liver will thank you. There's another reason your in-flight cocktail lingers longer than you expect, and it's not just about the dry air. At cruising altitude 6,000 to 8,000 feet, or roughly 1,800 to 2,400 meters, your body is quietly wrestling with less oxygen. The cabin's mild hypoxia does not just leave you lightheaded, it slows down your liver's main workhorse, the enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase. This is not theory. In 2010, the Journal of Applied Physiology published a controlled study of 12 healthy adults, all given a standard dose of ethanol, first at sea level, and then in a pressure chamber set to 2,438 meters. The results were clear. Their bodies cleared alcohol 15 to 20% slower at simulated cruising altitude. That means the same drink stays in your system longer, stretching out the effects well after the beverage cart has rolled away. For a snowbird retiree heading south for the winter, that slower clearance can mean a hangover that outlasts the flight. You might sip a glass of wine with dinner, fall asleep over the Rockies, and wake up in Miami still feeling the afterglow. The science lines up with the stories. Your blood alcohol concentration does not spike, but the alcohol hangs around, intensifying the brain fog and the morning after headache. The liver's slowdown is not dramatic enough to trigger a safety warning for healthy travelers, but it is measurable, and it explains why the effect of each drink has a longer tail at altitude. That is one more reason why a single drink at 35,000 feet can feel like two or more by the time you reach your gate. At 35,000 feet, cabin pressure drops and Boyle's law comes into play. Gas trapped in the stomach expands by about 30%, a fact confirmed by ultrasound and pressure chamber studies. At sea level, a stomach bubble might hold 12 milliliters. At cruising altitude, it grows to 16 milliliters or more. For a business traveler rushing from a meeting, grabbing a sandwich and a gin and tonic before boarding, this change is more than a curiosity. As the plane climbs, the expanding gas presses the stomach's contents into a thinner layer against the wall. Alcohol moves more quickly into the small intestine, where absorption is much faster than in the stomach. Breath tests and tracer studies show that peak blood alcohol concentration can arrive up to 15% sooner at altitude, even though the final blood alcohol concentration stays the same as it would on the ground. The effect is subtle, but it is enough to make that first drink feel stronger and faster. A 2016 pilot physiology study and a rabbit model both confirmed that gas expansion at cabin pressure matches the 30% predicted by Boyle's law. Each time the seatbelt sign clicks off, the body's chemistry is already shifting long before the beverage cart makes its way down the aisle. In June 2024, the German Aerospace Center, DLR, published a study in BMJ Thorax that changed the conversation about alcohol in air travel. 48 healthy adults, ages 18 to 40, spent nights in two different sleep labs, one at sea level, the other in a pressurized chamber set to 8,000 feet. Each person had 2 standard drinks before sleep. The results were stark. Oxygen saturation dropped to 85% in the altitude plus alcohol group, while those at sea level stayed at 95%. Heart rates climbed to 88 beats per minute at altitude, compared to 77 on the ground. The lead researcher, Eva Maria Elmenhorst, said the evidence is clear. Avoid alcohol on overnight flights, especially if you plan to sleep. The combination of mild hypoxia and alcohol is not just more noticeable, it is measurably riskier. 6 steps. grounded in the data, offer real protection. First, hydrate before takeoff. Drink at least half a liter of water in the hour before your first drink. Second, wait an hour after boarding before having alcohol. Third, match every alcoholic drink with a full glass of water. Fourth, eat a meal before drinking. Fifth, skip alcohol entirely on red-eye flights. Or, if you will be sleeping, the biggest drop in oxygen saturation happens during in-flight sleep. Sixth, if you have heart, lung, or sleep issues, avoid alcohol in the air altogether. For snowbirds, business travelers, or parents seeking rest, these are not just suggestions, they are backed by hard numbers. At altitude, your body works harder than you think. Right now, at 8,000 feet and 15% humidity, your body's oxygen drops below 90%. Your heart rate spikes and dehydration accelerates faster than you realize. That buzz isn't just psychology, it's physiology. Next time you order a drink in the clouds, remember the science is under your skin, not just in your glass.